3,000 police officers, more than 3,000 police officers on duty. But as far as those Chinese people who've come here to Nagano to support this, to watch the flame, they're not letting it spoil their day.
It sounds like there are as many, if not more, pro-Chinese supporters as anti-Chinese supporters. Is there any difficulty between these two groups?
Definitely a lot more pro-Chinese supporters. There was a sea of red Chinese flags along the roadside, and that's a sight you very rarely see here in Japan. There were one or two pro-Tibet supporters. When they were walking along carrying their flags past the pro-China supporters, there was usually a lot of shouting on both sides, but I certainly didn't see anything menacing. The police were watching very closely, though, a lot of very nervous-looking police. The Japanese authorities very concerned about this, anxious to make sure that this quite long rally, it goes on for 18 kilometres, to make sure that it goes off without incident.
Chris, we're looking at pictures now, and it looks like a pro-Tibetan demonstrator has been arrested, possibly. Lots of flags there, and one person being taken off by police. It looks as if he's shouting in protest, but he's actually being taken off there, shouting back to fellow supporters with Tibetan flags showing there. What sort of reaction has there been in Japan to these proposed talks between China and the representative of the Dalai Lama?
I think in terms of official reaction, very little so far, except welcoming any move towards trying to resolve this. President Hu Jintao is due to come to visit Japan at the beginning of May, at the beginning of next month. And already Japanese leaders have made clear that they intended to press him on the Tibet issue. So, whereas, of course, Japan, like the rest of the world, is waiting to see what substance comes out of this. I mean, certainly anything that tries to smooth the tensions between the two sides will be welcomed by the Japanese government.
We're just looking still at these pictures. As I said earlier, Chris, somebody has been taken off looking like a pro-Tibetan supporter, and I'm just wondering where the next stop is as it proceeds through Japan, and whether we're going to see any more trouble like that.
This is just one relay here in Japan. It goes on for 18 kilometres, as I said. It's through the streets of Nagano. It's taking a very winding route through these narrow streets. From here, the torch actually leaves Japan. It goes on to Korea next. So the Japanese authorities, I think, saw this initially as an honour to be hosting the torch. Probably privately, they're suggesting it's a bit of a burden. There has been a lot of nervousness. The mayor of Nagano did appeal to people, if they were protesting, to protest non-violently. So there will be, I think, some dismay if there has been an incident where a protester has been pulled off. But the Japanese have done their utmost by surrounding the torch with police to try to do what they can to make sure this passes off as peacefully as possible.
Chris, many thanks for that, and we're just seeing the torch being handed now to a young child who's carrying it through the streets of Nagano. Hopefully we can rejoin Chris Hogg later in the programme. Insurgents in Iraq are using children as suicide bombers. The UN Special Representative for Children and Armed Conflict has alleged.